Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the first workshop for the Blended Learning Initiative, How to Incorporate Blended Learning into Your Subject. Thank you so much for coming. We're delighted by this turnout, and there's a whole bunch of other people involved with the initiative who couldn't make it today, and that's why we're actually putting a bit of effort into recording this workshop so that they can watch it later and make sure they don't fall behind. So, hi to everybody watching at home. What we're going to do today, so we're here for 90 minutes. What we're going to do today is I'm going to very briefly provide a little bit of background, and then we'll move into a series of presentations. So I've put the lesson plan up on the subject website, which hopefully you've all had the opportunity to explore. So this is our plan for today, and I'll put a lesson plan up for each of the workshops as they take place. So today I'm going to talk for 5 minutes about the background. Then we're going to have a 15-minute, very quick panel discussion about blended learning generally and why we think it's such a good idea for legal education. Then Sarah's going to talk to you for half an hour about taking things back to basics in redesigning your subject to incorporate blended learning. Then Justin, Ron and Christian are going to talk to you for 30 minutes, showing you some examples of blended learning and talking to you about working out which of your normal teaching activities should take place in the classroom and which ones can take place online. And then we'll finish up with some very brief comments about what you need to do next after this workshop. So a bit of background. 25 years ago, when Bond and the Faculty of Law were established, we really were cutting edge. We were doing things that no one else in Australia was doing. We incorporated skills into the teaching of law, which was a radical move. We started video recording our lectures and providing them to students, which was something hardly anyone else was doing. We invested in and used technology in our teaching, much better than any of our competitors were doing. And over the last few years, we're still doing all those things, but other law schools are catching up, and in many cases have caught up. And we think it's time for the Bond Faculty of Law to leap ahead again, to get to the front of the race, to be providing legal education that is better than anyone else in Australia is doing. And one of the ways we're going to do that is by incorporating best practice blended learning into our teaching. That is going to take a lot of work, but we're going to work together to do it. So the university, the faculty will provide individual academics with the resources and the support that they need in order to make the changes to their teaching. And these workshops, this initiative, is a big part of that support. We're not going to try and roll it out to every single subject and every single program offered by the Faculty of Law. That would be crazy. So we're targeting particular programs. We're targeting our master's programs, and we're targeting PLT. So what we've done is we've created this initiative, essentially a subject that is going to teach you how to turn your subject or subjects into a blended learning subject. And this course is itself going to be delivered using blended learning. So we're going to teach you about blended learning by not just telling you about blended learning, but by demonstrating blended learning. So some of the learning activities will take place face-to-face, like this, in workshops, and some of them will take place online. So you will have all received an email 48 hours ago that said the website is up, there's a bunch of resources there, and you were encouraged to get online and explore. There were some videos to watch, there was a bit of text to read, there was a Quizlet to play with, if you had the chance to play with that. And the idea was to ensure that by the time you came to the workshop, you at least had a basic understanding of blended learning and what it is that we're trying to do. Today, it's all about back to basics. If you're going to rebuild your subject to incorporate blended learning, then let's take the opportunity to really rethink what it is that you're trying to do in your subject and the best way for you to do it. There's 5 more workshops after this one. In 2 weeks' time, we'll have another workshop here, and we're going to talk about blended learning in the classroom. How can you bring technology into the face-to-face experience? What are some of the really cool and interesting technologies that are available now and relatively easy to use? I can tell you, you're going to be surprised at how easy some of these technologies are to incorporate into your teaching. 2 weeks after that, we'll have another workshop where we'll start to talk about blended learning online. What are some of the online resources and activities that you can create for your students? Again, with support from the faculty, with support from the university, and using technologies that are, again, are probably a lot more easy to use than you might think. Then we're going to take a break because around that time it'll be exams and marking and break between semesters, so we'll take about 4 or 5 weeks off. Then we'll come back for workshop 4 and we'll keep looking at blended learning online. Workshop 5, we'll have a look at how you can assess and provide feedback to students online. And again, there are some excellent, amazing technologies available. And then workshop 6, the final workshop, we'll round things off by going back to iLearn itself and showing you how you can make the most of iLearn, how you can transform your iLearn site to incorporate all the technologies that you've learned about and really provide an amazing experience for your students. We're going to show you a lot of stuff over the next few months. You're not expected to incorporate every single thing into your subject, and it would be crazy for you to do that. The idea here is to show you what's available, and then you pick, you decide. That one, don't like that. That's a waste of time. That's rubbish. That's going to take too much time for me to set up. But that one, and that one, and that one, I can do that. And I think those are going to really help me to teach my students what I want them to learn. So that's the idea, a smorgasbord of ideas and resources. You pick and choose, you build the subject that you want to build. The workshops are catered. So at 9:30 this morning, so food and drink will be arriving. So we'll make sure we duck out, get some hot drinks and scones for breakfast, yum. Which is good news. All of the workshops are going to be held in here, this room, except for the next one in 2 weeks' time. We're going to hold that one in the law faculty in one of the tutorial rooms on level 4. And the reason is quite deliberate. The topic of the workshop in 2 weeks is using blended learning in the classroom. And chances are your classroom isn't going to be set up like this. Might be, if you want it to be, if you can get this room. But more than likely, you're just going to be teaching in a normal tutorial room or a normal lecture room. So, part of our theme of teaching by demonstrating, we're going to deliver that workshop in a normal classroom and show you what you can still do in that type of room. After that, workshops 3, 4, 5, and 6 are all going to be back here. Okay. At this point, does anybody have any urgent questions about the initiative? Again, this whole thing is being delivered using blended learning. It's not just the workshops. You have to remember to actually do the things between the workshops that we're going to encourage you to do. Before each workshop, 48 hours before each workshop, I'll write to you and remind you there's some resources up online. Please go and have a look. And then a couple of days after each workshop, I'll write to you again to say, okay, here are some things for you to do between now and the next workshop. Including, we're going to ask you to just write a few words reflecting on what you got out of the first workshop. Because really, it wouldn't be a subject without a little bit of assessment. Hopefully no one will fail. Alright, so that's our background to the Blended Learning Initiative. The next item on our agenda is a panel discussion. So we'll take a 1-minute break while the video is reset, and then we'll invite our panel members to join us for a bit of a discussion.